Hey, everybody out there in YouTube land, I'm Pocan Joe, and as always, you're pretty cool for swinging by. Thanks for swinging by. This is my weekly haul video. If you want a deeper review on these books with a panel of comic book amateurs, check us out on Blaster Stash at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Myself and some of the other fellows from our comic book collecting channels will come together and give a review. We'll also have an interactive chat so you can sit there and give your opinions and ask us questions about what we thought, if it even matters. So let's get on with my haul. I've had the opportunity to read all my books. I America so hard yesterday that yet again I think I've thrown out my back. I mean, I America so hard and everywhere. So, um, so I think I might have thrown out my back a little bit. So I'm sitting here in my lazy boy doing this. So if it gets a little shaky or whatever, it's because it's on the armrest and I don't have an end table. It don't matter. Let's talk about comic books because that's why you're here. Let's go with DC first. The first book that I read this week was this Deceased. This has been good. I like this. Now we're getting the full effect or the full story of the effect of this anti-equation or anti-life equation being spread out both technologically and biologically. Who's been infected? How fast is it spreading? We kind of get a synopsis of that. We even get Aquaman, fish whisperer himself, underwater, turned into a zombie. It's probably the scariest I've ever seen him. About time they did something cool with that character because I've never been an Aquaman fan. We also get a little bit of a heartbreaking story in this. We find out that Jonathan Kent, that's right, Superman's stepfather, is also now a zombie as well, and that's really, really sad story. Yeah, we also get Damian. He's not doing too well either, with Batman being infected as well. Alfred turned badass. He jumped in a plane, started flying around, shooting up zombies. That was kind of cool. And Harley Quinn has to deal with the birds of prey, zombified. Yeah, all that happened in this book. Get out and check this series out. I am enjoying this. And it's about time one of these cover photos, one of these covers of Wonder Woman actually looks meaner. And last time she looked this cool was during Justice League Dark when they did the whole black zombie thing. That was kind of cool. Um, Unfortunately, great cover, horrible story. This is Harley Quinn number 63. This story tried to do a emotional pull at you. Harley Quinn's mother's got the cancer and it's spreading to her bones. So what are we going to do about it? We're going to laugh because that shit's funny. And that's why this is a bad story. Also, we get something about death and Harley Quinn in a knockoff blockbusters storyline that just turned out to be a mistake. And the big tie-in for this is nothing more than an advertisement for Year of the Villain. This entire book is garbage. I did not enjoy this author. Cool cover, good job, Joe. But the rest of it, I don't know. The art was okay in it. I'll give you that. It's that cartoony kind of art. But this was no. Moving on, talking about confusing and not knowing what the point of the story is. We got Doom Patrol issue number 1 right here. Now, look, let me caveat real quick, if I may. Uh, I did not expect the Doom Patrol that I remember in the 80s or even before then. I don't expect that team. I don't care about that team. I was worried. I wanted to know more about this team. And all this book did was make me reference 3 times to past issues of Doom Patrol. It being in issue number 1, you should tighten up and have the story right there. Introduce your characters in a subtle way. They didn't do that in here. We're just expected to know who these people are and what their powers are. Um, and it was horrible. And this entire story was about basically fat shaming. Being body positive, I think is what they're calling it. I don't know. Apparently, the bad guy in this is just somebody who wants everybody to be healthy. That's it. But yep, no, we don't get that. And the art in it is just confusing and muddled. I don't know. Um, and of course, we get Lois Lane number 1. I got where they were going with this, and it started off okay, and I was like, it will get better, it will get better, and it didn't. This was supposed to come off as some sort of mystery novel, about the crackpot journalist who's discovering all the truths out there. The problem is that they actually picked a very serious issue that's happening here in the United States. Um, and they played it off of a false narrative that has already been disproven. Now, I get that comic books come out and they get written and then produced at a different date when we find out facts and information. But this is propaganda at its best near the end. There's no truth behind it. It's shallowly labelizing and minimizing issues that we have now, and it's promoting a false narrative on them as well. Shame on the writer for that too. Even comic book writers should do a little bit of homework. And of course, we get the question in it, but we get the female version of the question. Okay, um, and it's not particularly interesting. It's boring. It's boring. The entire book was boring. So yeah, no. Moving on to Marvel. Yesterday being the 4th of July, I am so happy I got myself a good Captain America story. This is the Invaders. And this kind of was pre World War II when they all kind of didn't know each other. And they're all mystery agents, or secret agents, mystery secret agents, however you want to put it. And they got to stop Baron Zemo from kidnapping the president while they're on a trip in the Bahamas to convince the governor of the Bahamas to maybe not be so cool with the Nazis. Like that might be a problem, right? So they're going down there. Zemo's trying to capture everybody, and Namor shows up, destroys a U-boat. That was awesome. Nothing like Nazis drowning. I'm okay with that. Um, we get the Human Torch literally setting people on fire and melting them. That was awesome. And then we get Captain America throwing his shield around, being all America. This was a great story. Great nostalgic characters. The art in it is so clean. I really like this art in here. Very detailed. Good story. Definitely pick it up. Is it going to be worth money someday? No, but it's just a good story. It's how you tell a good story. Definitely pick that up. Next, Cosmic Ghost Rider destroys the Marvel Universe. This is it. We finally get to the day. We get another antidote story of him engaging in famous Marvel history stories or stories throughout time. And he's there at this park next to the carnival with his younger self. Right about the time, we're getting right up to the time to where Frank Castle's children and family die. We're right there on the cusp of it, and right before anything can happen, the Watcher shows up, and he's not having any of this. So much so that he pulls a dirty, hairy gun out on him. I don't know what it is about this oversized baby head thing going on, but I really like the gimmicky of it. And of course, and of course, it's the big mystery, the blam. Did the family get it? Frank, what's going on in this? We don't know. That's how it ended. What a great ending. Definitely make me get the next issue. That's Cosmic Ghost Rider Destroys Marvel History, number 5. Looking forward to number 6. Next, Arrow. First, maybe I shouldn't be the one to review this book. I'm not a huge fan of Magna, the Asian art style of comic books. What is that called? Manga. Not a big fan of manga. This is done in very manga form. Um, and I don't really understand the story that much. I don't know why these buildings are coming alive. That's not. So if you don't know, she is an architect and she designs buildings because that's what architects do. She's also a superhero at night that can control the wind and fly around. We got some information about her in the War of the Realms issue, New Agents of Atlas. That's it. Which that was just a horrible, horrible concept. So now we're breaking out onto our own comic book. I think this is nothing more than Marvel trying to jump into that genre of comic book storytelling. Um, but what happens in this is basically somebody's making these buildings come alive, a villain, right? And yeah, the buildings are coming alive. Now, first off, that's just stupid. And she has to fly around and destroy them, and she can do this very easily because she controls wind. Great. And so what? Like seriously, apparently something's coming down from space, and it's affecting a lot of this too. Um, some fighter pilots are involved. All of a sudden, she's a military genius as well. I don't know. It's not a very clear cut story. We don't really know why she does what she does. Whatever. We do know for a fact at least 7 pages where she tells us how much she loves her city. A little overcompensating there, but all right, we get a lot of that. The second story in this one I found a lot more interesting. Um, this is Arrow and dealing with a character by the name of, I think it's Wave. Yeah, Wave. She was also in Agents of Atlantis as well. Apparently, she was part of a team called Triumphant Division. That's a weird name, which is a League of Asian superheroes. And apparently, she backed off the team because she can't follow orders or whatever. They want their property back that they gave her, the armor and sword that they gave her, swords that they gave her. They want it back, and apparently that's unacceptable by them, even though they're not on the team anymore. I don't know. I'm not into this. I've talked way too much about something I don't like. Next, we got one of my favorite things, Secret Warps. This is Soldier Supreme. If you remember back in the event where they kind of crossed superheroes and villains to make one universe, they kept the universe alive, and thank goodness they did, because this is some good stuff here. Um, we get a lot of mixtures of people in here. We have we find out who Bucky and Woo, they're together in kind of a ghost thing. That's weird. I'm liking this. I'm liking what they're doing with the characters in here, both the good and the bad. We get the one of my favorite ones is the Iron Stark in this. That's kind of cool with the hammer, the armor, the Viking attitude. It's good stuff. Definitely a hard pickup. Um, and it looks like we get a little symbiote action in this too, but I'm not 100% sure. So yeah, a lot of good stuff in here. A lot of mesh up of characters. They're definitely building a unique universe around this with comic book characters we know. So that's definitely a hard pickup. Pick that up. I can only expect good things from that. Next, Fantastic Four, The Prodigal Son. This is the first time I've met or have seen this character, Prodigal. Somebody told me that they've seen him in something else before. Again, I've been in and out of comic books over the years, so I don't know if this character actually exists anywhere. But he has landed in the Savage Lands, and Kazar, his wife, and contact the Fantastic Four because apparently the swamp people of the Savage Lands are worshiping him like a god, but they're really playing him like a fiddle. They need to go into a castle that has technology in it. Prodigal was told that there would be a spaceship in there, but the truth is the swamp people or the leader of the swamp men or people or whatever we call them just wants the weapons in there, right? Which would give them the advantage on the lands. Obviously, this can't happen because they're not like civilized. They're savages, and that's usually not a good thing. A lot of good stuff happens in here. I'm liking this story. We find out that Kazar has a son that's about Valerie Fantastic's age. A little romance going on there. That's some cool stuff. And we finally figure out that Reed Richards always got a plan, contingency plan for whenever he thinks egotistical, nihilistic douchebags are going to try to get the better of him when they can't. So there he is in a bubble in space. They're going to put him there for just a little bit to chill out, and then they'll go save him, of course. Good story. I like it. Fantastic Four has just been killing it lately. Next, Immortal Hulk, and it's about time. It is an Eisner Award nominee for Best Continuing Series. Whatever, nominee my ass. You just need to go on and give it to them. It's better than a lot of that Kim and Kim stuff that's been coming out. So we find out why Red Harpy in this one killed the Hulk, and it was to jumpstart his healing factor in this so they can drop Abomination. And Abomination is scary in this. We also got some great stuff where Bruce Banner is in the below versus the above. And we get this heart-touching story real quick about Bruce Banner and his mother. And we've got two little interesting things happening at the end. We got this Metatron thing that's happening. That's pretty cool. And we also find out that Ross is out of his grave. And is he the Red Hulk? What's going on there? We don't know, but it should be interesting. We also got some great advertising for this Carnage thing coming out. That's going to be pretty interesting. Moving on to Savage Avengers. Oh my god, this is epically good. Like, I can't say enough good things about this. We got comic book heroes, the most savage ones out there. Excuse the pun. Punisher finally shows up and he's pissed because the bad guy stole his family to bring him there because they want to cut him open, dump him into like this pool of blood of nothing but the most savage warriors out there. And who else is there? Wolverine, Conan, Elektra, Brother Voodoo. We got some stuff going on. And if you've ever wondered what would happen if you take a Venom symbiote and cross it with Conan, we get some cool stuff. We find that out in here. Good stuff. Um, yeah, I can't get enough of this. This has just been epically awesome lately. And I really love for this next issue how they cross their weapons where Punisher's got the sword and Conan's learning how to shoot the gun. They're dropping bodies left and right in this. And our god, the Marrow God, is here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce dude's name. I want to say Joyatan, maybe? I don't know. It's a god. It's evil. It's badass. Good stuff going on in here. Get yourself some Savage Avengers. You'll enjoy it. Especially if you like good classic comic book storytelling. Let's move on to bad comic book storytelling. Uncanny X-Men, number 21. What is this issue trying to tell us? I have no freaking clue. More mind stuff, more nonsense. It's a lot of words, little action. Uh, I don't know what they're trying to say in this. I don't even really understand the story in this, to be quite honest with you. But we do know that Emma Frost can do anything because she's got mind powers. Yeah, that's all I got for that one. Next, we got Old Man Quill. I've been enjoying this, and we find out something even sadder at the end of this. We find out that his team up with the Guardians of the Galaxy didn't really happen. In other words, they're not there. He's been doing all this stuff on his own to begin with. Now, if I go back and look at a couple of issues, I'm going to be like, how is that even possible? Like, because they legitimately would throw something at him and he would catch it, and so I don't know. I think there's a little problem with the story there, but how do I like this overall? This is some pretty good stuff. I'm liking where this story's going. I like this church coming down trying to reform everybody. In other words, take away people's freedoms, in a land where their freedoms are already taken. And the one Sebastian of Hope is Peter Quill, who is becoming somewhat infamous in this universe. So good stuff going on there. I like it. Plus, it was really cool when they took the helicopter and turned it like this so the propellers would go, and they were killing all these little mole monster things. It was a great scene. Moving on, Dead Man Logan. This has been good. So this Hulk killer thing, Wolverine finally kills it, right? They figure out a way to kill it. They're dropping that body, but unfortunately, Baby Hulk, we'll just call him that, Young Hulk, whatever you want to call him, suffers some pretty bad wounds. So what does Wolverine do? He does what he does best. Whenever he goes away, he comes back. He finds his old friend Forge in their little hangout, and they're kind of hanging out in there to kind of help Baby Hulk. Wolverine's going to do what he does best. He shows up. He's going to leave again. However, there he is. We get Sabretooth. Yeah, he's showing it up. And how awesome is that? It's like some Son of Anarchy stuff going on there. And he's got his little army he's been building with him along the way, probably the redneck cannibals. I like this series. I especially like it when they take some of our heroes that we don't really see a whole lot of anymore, and they kind of just throw them into the mix like Speedball there. He was obviously a danger to everybody because he's out of control, or his powers are out of control, I should say. So that's a fun story. A lot of interesting stuff going on in this. I'll definitely continue that series. Last but not least, my only independent this week, and that was Space Bandits. I went with this variant right here. Of course, it's going to be in Netflix. So apparently, my Mark Millar had read Kim and Kim. If you haven't read Kim and Kim, don't worry, you're not missing anything. There's nothing good in it. And he was like, yeah, I can make this better. And he did. This is actually good. Yeah. So what do we got here? We got two chicas that are badass. period. But there's limits to every superhero and every badass. The first one gets shot out, gets beat up by some thugs that she hired. They beat her up and steal her money. Rightfully so, because they're like the worst bad guys of most gangs out there. That's a no-brainer. That's going to happen. Our second badass Chica, she gets done over by love. Her boyfriend, apparently they had this cool little scheme where she's like a legit bad guy in the universe. She falls in love with this guy. So they go around where they're like, okay, hey, I'm a bounty hunter and I caught her, right? So give us our reward, and then doubles back and saves her. And they've done this several times until the last time where he does not come back and get her. I love the 80s stuff that they're playing off of this, and it makes sense because right here in the beginning it says the 80s didn't reach the Midwest until the 90s. Think how long it took to get into space, right? So everything's kind of got this 80s play off of it, like the Lionel ship right there, Lionel Richie ship. Everybody's dressed in these kind of 80s kind of get-ups, what they thought sci-fi was. And then you get weirdness like this. And then you're thinking, oh, look, and then they're like, hey, what we mine off of this crustacean, um, what is it, cures 44 fatal diseases. So there's an explanation of why this thing is there. Um, I like this. This is fun storytelling. Good job. Uh, this is how you write badass chicks, and it's just going to get cooler, I think. How's it going to look when it comes to TV from the story I read? I'm not sure yet. I'm still on the wire for that, so I don't know. But other than that, that's my haul for this week. Hey guys, thanks for swinging by. Appreciate having you. Don't forget, Blaster Stash at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Live chat going on. We'll have fun. We'll be in the chat with you, asking all kinds of. Happy to answer any questions that you have. What else do we got going on in the future? You can check below. I have an auction, an online auction house right now where I'm getting rid of a lot of comic books. Well, not a lot of comic books, just the stuff that I don't care to keep. I read a lot of comic books and review a lot of comic books, and not everything I want to keep, so generally I get rid of it in an auction. We got that going on. Let's see here. The Blaster. Oh, Comic Core still extended their contest. If you don't know who the Comic Core is, I'm shocked and amazed. Comic Core is a channel here on YouTube that they have content damn near nightly right here on YouTube with all their great shows and everything that they do. They're currently having a contest right now where they want to send you and a friend to Baltimore Comic Con in October. That's kind of interesting. I've already done 2 submissions because that's what I do because I really want to go. You get to hang out with the Comic Core, eat, drink, associate, talk. They're great people. Definitely make a video for that contest. I think you'll have fun if you win. Even if you don't, meeting them in Baltimore should still be just as entertaining. I promise you that. Other than that, I don't have anything else going on. So again, have a good week. I'll see you next week when we get more comic books. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.